Mr. President, Ministers and Deputy Ministers of State, Managing Director of Graphic Communications Group Limited, Chairpersons and members of governing boards, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Nananom, Nime, Name, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As always, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources is grateful to the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo Addo, for the extraordinary leadership demonstrated in the management and utilization of our natural resources, and for graciously accepting the invitation of the Ministry and the Graphic Communications Group Limited to open this all-important stakeholder dialogue. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have met here this morning through this Natural Resources Stakeholder Conference to dialogue and to forge a common path for the holistic management and utilization of our natural resources. That is why the theme for this dialogue is, quote, harnessing our natural resources responsibly for sustainable collective good, end quote. It is crucial to note that issues of natural resources go beyond our lands, forests, wildlife, and mineral resources, which are within the mandate of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, but include other resources such as water, fossil fuels, fisheries, renewable energy resources, among others. All these resources are, however, intrinsically connected to each other. The management of our forests and mineral resources have a direct bearing on our water and marine resources, as they affect our lands, rivers, streams, and other natural resources. Indeed, history tells us that the two failed land bills of 1894 and 1897 were inspired by attempts by the colonial government to take over the mineral and forest resources of our nation. This eventually led to the Concessions Ordinance of 1900, a compromise law which, unlike the land bills, did not vest the lands in the crown, but placed restrictions on the right of chiefs to grant concessions for the exploitation of minerals and other natural resources. Colonial regulation of the natural resources sector was largely geared towards security of tenure for the concessionaires and generating revenue for the colonial government. This continued into post-independence, when all natural resources in their natural state were vested in the President of the Republic for and on behalf of the people of Ghana. Distinguished guests, our world is, however, changing at a very fast rate, and this is having a direct consequences even on the management of the world's resources. A few years ago, the thought of sand becoming a scarce resource would probably have sounded ridiculous. Today, however, with some 50 billion tons of sand mined annually across the globe, there are fears that the world may run out of sand in the coming years. The management of natural resources, therefore, is not just about protection and exploitation, but also, more importantly, about sustainability, environmental protection, mitigating climate crisis, and ensuring optimal benefit for the owners of these resources. That is why, pursuant to the instructions of President Akufo Addo, we've been taking several measures over the past few years to ensure the effective, efficient, and sustainable management of our natural resources, and even significantly, implementing policies aimed at retaining the value chain of these resources in country. We have ramped up local content and local participation in the mining industry by increasing the items on the local procurement list of goods and services reserved for Ghanaians from 29 in 2018 to 50 this year. This will ensure that we retain here in our country some $3 billion annually, which will otherwise have been exported. We are working with the Ghana Chamber of Mines and the Securities and Exchange Commission to ensure that large-scale mining companies list on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Already, Asante Gold Corporation has listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange, and several other mining companies are in the process of doing so. Through the intervention of President Akufo Addo, the Obuasi mine was brought back to life in 2019, and the Bibiani mine, which had been dormant for some 7 years, was also revived last year. These measures have contributed immensely to our gold output and the growth of our national economy. Today, gold alone accounts for more than 40% of our total national receipts. But we are not relaxing. 3 new large-scale mining operations are scheduled to start production within the next 2 years, namely Newmont Ahafo North in the Ahafo region, Azuma Resources in the Upper West region, and Cardinal Namdini in the Upper East region, which, when completed, will become the 3rd largest gold mine in our country. Ladies and gentlemen, as I speak, pursuant to the instructions of President Akufo Addo, a technical committee is finalizing a policy document on the exploitation, management, and utilization of our green minerals, including lithium, for the consideration of Cabinet. Our goal is to ensure that, as much as possible, we retain the value chain of these future and other minerals in our country. In the forestry sector, in addition to the Green Ghana Day, we are implementing programs such as the Ghana Forest Plantation Strategy, under which some 690,000 hectares of forest have been cultivated between 2017 and 2022. The Cocoa and Forest Initiative, the Ghana Red Plus Strategy, under which we are already receiving results-based payment for emission reduction, the Forest Investment Program, and the Forest Law Enforcement Governance and Trade Action Plan, through which we are tracing wood from the forest to final disposal. Apart from these aggressive afforestation and reforestation measures, we are taking stringent steps to cordon off and protect our forest resources from attack by illegal miners, illegal loggers, agricultural expansionists, and other drivers of deforestation and forest degradation. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, systematically, as you can see, the government of President Akufo Addo is putting in place the necessary building blocks to construct in our country a viable, sustainable, effective, efficient, and environmentally sound natural resources sector that generates employment and contributes meaningfully to the development of our country. We recognize that there are still challenges. Undoubtedly, our objective is yet to be fully accomplished, and that is one of the main reasons we are gathered here this morning. Mr. President, honorable ministers, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, while it is the responsibility of government through the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources to regulate and manage the utilization of these resources, we understand the important role other stakeholders play in the discharge of this mandate. Hence, this dialogue. It is our hope that through this timely dialogue, we can forge a common path to manage sustainably our natural resources, add value to them, retain the highest end of the industry, contribute to the national economy, whilst at the same time protecting our environment for our collective good. We, at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, under the outstanding leadership of President Akufo Addo, remain fully committed to working with all stakeholders to construct a sustainable and value-added natural resources sector anchored on transparency, integrity, and utmost good faith for the benefit of the Ghanaian people, the true owners of these resources. I thank you for your attention.
For more news, please visit our website graphic.com.gh or follow us on Facebook at Daily Graphic and on YouTube and Twitter at GraphicGH.
Subscribe now.